So you really want to make sure these things are nice and clean. Like, see all that rust inside of there? Yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and hit that with the wire brush. Can't have that. We're making moves today, boys. Today, we are gonna be taking another step to getting this old girl back on the road. As you guys have seen in my previous videos, we've got the entire keg pretty much finished and ready to basically be put together. However, that being said, we still have a bunch of stuff that we have to assemble beforehand, including my brand new rotors. All of these seals have to be installed, and I have to basically get that thing ready to stack. Today, we're gonna be assembling the rotors and getting some new bearings pressed in. And then we're gonna be setting up the engine stand so that we can hopefully get stacking sometime later this week. As you guys can see, we got Matt's car up on the lift right now. He's doing a couple little things to it. He's a little bit sketched out about his fitment. It looks like wheels are rubbing a little baby bit on the fenders right there. That's not great. How do you feel about it, Matt?
Saying I'm not thrilled would be an understatement. I'm sweating it pretty hard.
I think you just need to lower it a little bit more.
I'm not coping.
You have to, here's what you gotta do, all right? You gotta lower it more, okay, and just roll the fenders tight. Like, look at this, look at this. You see that? That's rolled tight. I can barely stick a finger in there. Like, literally, I can get 2 knuckles deep. 2 knuckles deep into that. That's what you need, Matt.
I'm gonna have to roll them. I'm gonna have to do it.
I think you should roll them tight and lower it.
No,
just commit to it.
No. Thinner spacer and rolled fenders and sacrifices we make.
No fun, no fun. But Matt wanted to get some work done on it and join in on the rotary festivities. Of course, we've got a couple pretty big things to do, I should say. But yeah, let's get on to the first task of the day. So I know I probably scared you guys at the beginning. We're not actually gonna be using these bearings. We're gonna be pressing them out with this tool that I got from Atkins Rotary. A good old Harbor Freight press. You can see right here, this bearing has one little tang on it. We wanna make sure to press this side out that way. Just like that, we have our old stationary gear bearing. Now I got some brand new ones from Mazda, so we can have a nice fresh new bearing to hold our eccentric shaft in. So with these bearings, they have the tang that's only on one side. This basically means that when you press this in, this has to be completely straight. The only issue is that you have to press it in starting from this. So I like to get a nice little channel or some sort of angle iron and just scribe the line of where the tang's gonna sit, and then we know exactly which orientation we have to press the thing in. One of the reasons that's super important is because you guys can see that hole on the bearing is actually a hole for the oil to come through. So this is gonna send high pressure oil to lubricate the eccentric shaft and make sure that everything in there is pretty much floating on a nice thin film of oil. If you put this in any other way, it's gonna cause some pretty bad damage and you don't want that. We can just line up the marks that we've made right in the middle of that groove. We'll stick our tool back in there. That's our brand new bearing pressed into our stationary gear. So another thing you want to make sure that you do is on these guys, these bearings have to pretty much sit flush with that edge. If you push them in too far, the oil hole can actually get restricted by the bearing, and you definitely don't want that. So now we're gonna move on to one of the most exciting parts, and that's assembling the rotors. So of course we've got all of these seals. We've gotta get all of our oil seals in there, all of our side seals in there, get that all prepped, and then we'll be able to stack. So a couple of the very important tools for the rotary trade. Big old tub of Vaseline, the biggest one that you can get. If you steal your mom's, then that's probably the best one you can get. I like to use some nice engine assembly lube just to make sure that all of my surfaces are nice and protected, but the Vaseline is just to make sure that all these seals stay in place when we eventually have to flip the rotors over to put them in the engine. How do you feel about that, Matt?
I don't like it. It's making me jittery already.
So we're gonna start out by getting our oil O-rings into our actual oil rings. So these are gonna be going into these grooves. We also have springs for those to make sure that they stay nice and pressed up against the side of the irons. So I'm gonna go ahead and start assembling these ones, and I'll show you guys what I do. All right, so I've got the O-rings out and separated. You guys can see we've got one O-ring that's bigger and one O-ring that's smaller. And we have 4 of those because we have 4 faces of the rotors that we have to install these oil separator rings on. So of course we have matching oil metal rings. So that's what the O-rings are actually gonna go into. We have one bigger one and one smaller one per face of the rotor. We're gonna go ahead and install these O-rings into the metal rings. Use some nice lubrication to get them into the rotor itself, and then we'll be good. Start off with the Vaseline. Get that good little sensual shot in there. We've got one that's got the O-ring on the outside, and one that's gonna have the O-ring on the inside. I'm gonna start with the one that has the O-ring on the outside because that one's honestly gonna be a lot easier to do. That's gonna take the smaller O-ring. I'm just gonna get it all lubed up with some Vaseline. We can just go ahead and sit that O-ring into the groove. Nice and simple on these ones. These ones, however, are going to be a little bit more of a bitch to do. So I'm going to go ahead and get these lathered up in some Vaseline. I'm also going to apply some Vaseline into the ring itself to make sure that it stays in place. So I just kind of push them in. And then this last part is going to be the most difficult part, just because they're so fiddly and annoying. That's our finished set right there. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all the rest of them. And then we can go ahead and start getting the springs and everything set up. So I'm making Matt try some of this so you can get a real taste of what it's like to be a rotary enthusiast.
Just gotta jump in. Just gotta immerse yourself. You know, if y'all remember when Irvin dropped the math on my car, man always blamed the gloves. And you know what? He's on to something.
They're slippery as hell, dude. I've been telling you.
Went to pick up the bag. He didn't really hold on to it very well, so I definitely can't really blame the guy anymore.
I told you, dude. These
Yeah,
gloves
you weren't fucking lying.
These gloves are trash.
Bro, that was easy, dude. I don't know what the fuck you struggled
Oh,
so much.
whatever, dude.
I did it in like 3 seconds.
Whatever, dude. Fine.
Where's another one?
Do this
I
one,
will.
you fucking asshole.
I will not be held liable for any internal engine failings as a result
If it's
of my
if it's one of these 3 oil rings that fails, oh, you're an asshole. You're such an asshole.
Now we don't know which one. Pick the right one.
I hate you. I hate you so much. I went into Walgreens today to get this Vaseline, and I had no idea where to find it, and so I was just pacing through the Walgreens, right? I was like mumbling shit because I was like trying to like be quick. I was like, where the fuck do they keep? Where do you keep Vaseline? What is Vaseline even used for? What the hell? And I get up to the counter and all that I bring to the counter is Vaseline, and the lady looked at me so weird. But like, what the fuck? Besides building rotors, what is this shit used for?
Uses. Temporarily protects minor cuts, scrapes, and burns. Temporarily protects and helps relieve chapped or cracked skin and lips, and helps protect from the drying effects of wind and cold weather. So what you're saying is, just slather this on my fucking face and walk out in the windstorm and cold and be fine?
I think it's a good idea.
And I got chapped lips, so like, that's not bad.
All right, so this part is crucial, absolutely crucial. As you can see, these are the springs for the oil rings. We've got 2 with white marks, 2 with blue marks. Basically, what we're looking at is these springs have a rounded end and a square end. So the rounded end is going to go into the rotor. There's these little indents on the rotor right here and right here. So basically those are going to catch on this rounded end, where the square ends are going to catch on the oil control rings right here on these grooves. That's basically going to keep those from spinning when the engine's rotating. Just like that, right there. Since this is rotor 1, this is going to be the front side of the rotor with the gear on it. Rotor 2, the gear side will be the back side. So the back side, the gear side will be getting the blue ones on the second rotor. So I'm going to go ahead and grab one of the smaller rings. Here, you can grab the camera. I mean, that's basically all it's got to do. And again, round side's going to go down into that little groove. Boom. Understand? Did I just fucking... Oh, nice. Ooh. Nice.
Yeesh.
Yeah, those are sharp, kids.
What'd you get yourself on
the ring? Both thumbs. Oof. That's a good one. So we're going for try number 2. I stuffed some paper towel in my gloves to see if that'll alleviate my problems. I don't have any band-aids, so I'm just gonna sit here and bleed it out. Blood, sweat, and tears. That's what they always say. I got blood and tears down. Wow, that's bleeding a lot. Oh my god.
Oh damn. Yeah, it's filling that bitch up.
Okay, we might have to go film this another day. Like fucking go to the hospital and get my thumb chopped off right
quick
quick.
intermission here. Quick trip to the ER.
I'll come back with 2 less thumbs. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and give my full-on negative endorsement for Falcon grip gloves. They're slippery, they make you drop shit on very nice cars. They're not very strong, they make you cut yourself on rotary engines. Just all around garbage gloves. Don't ever buy Falcon grips, buy Gloveworks, they're better. Okay, so at this point, we got it. It took 2 of my thumbs out, but we got it. The first side. So I'm gonna try to go ahead and do the second side without destroying my thumbs, and we'll see how that goes. I figured out that if we just use every single dead blow hammer that I have to push it down, I don't have to sacrifice my thumb. We'll see how this side goes. So we got our corner seals in there, springs. So those should move pretty freely. Now we're gonna get side seal springs. And so these guys basically are shaped like little extended W's. So it's got a bunch of little squiggly lines. You want the ends to be facing up, so out. So I'm just gonna go ahead and drop this guy into the groove along with all of his brothers. You guys watched the video of me clearancing these side seals. So now I have all of these side seals marked so that they'll be perfect, already sized for the right faces. I just have to figure out which one's which. I've got them marked out. 1 dash means rotor 1, 1 dash means gear side, and then I have my face numbers 1, 2, and 3. So these are going to go back into those specific positions. As you guys can see, each face is labeled 2, 1, and 3. And so that's where these seals are going to be going. They'll be going in this one. Two. We'll be going in this one. And 3 will be going in this one. That's fully assembled. We gotta make sure that stays assembled. Just goop the fuck out of the Vaseline on that shit, on everything. Get that nice and fucking coated so these bitches don't fall out. Swimming in it. Swimming in the Vaseline. That's why you gotta get the biggest tub you got. I saw this video on Instagram a little while ago. This like rotary specific shop had a 55-gallon drum of Vaseline, and it was like empty. Like they were like scooping it out with their hands, like from the bottom. Wild. I hope to get to that one of these days. I'm buying Vaseline by the fucking shit ton, by the metric shit ton. So I'm being somewhat careful to line up the corner buttons with the apex seal grooves. We are going to be throwing apex seals in there without the springs, just to make sure that everything stays aligned when we place this in the engine. Give me a vibe check, Matt. How are you feeling about this so far?
I don't know. Once you put something together, I like to be able to see, like I like to look back at it and make sure it's like okay, not fucked up. There's too much of not being able to tell that.
Yeah, absolutely no chance.
And I'm just, makes me a little uncomfortable. Piston engines are the same. I mean, you put the rings on, you stuff the piston in the hole, and it's the same thing. So like, but then again, I took my shit to the machine shop and had them assemble it, so I don't have to worry about it before. So there's that. Also, I can confirm Vaseline does well on the lips. Not gonna lie, it's
Really?
pretty good. Yeah, it's actually pretty.
Make sure to hit that affiliate link. It's in the description. That's the only way this channel keeps going. I'm making pennies off of that. Please just help me, please. Don't show your moms this video. I don't want them in my DMs later. Or do, maybe. It could be a good time. If your mom's hot, then show your moms this video. This is assembled basically the entirety that we're going to be doing it at this point. We do have our apex seals right in here that I'm going to be sticking those grooves just to make sure that everything stays aligned.
Aren't there springs for that?
There are springs, yes. There's a couple different schools of thought as far as the way that you should be installing these. So I've seen some people put springs in them before they drop them in the engine. And I've seen some people put them in after. Today we're probably going to be testing both of those because I've never done this actually putting them together before. So we're going to see what works best. I think on this one I'm going to try to put the springs in before we actually stack it, so then we can just like suck it into the rotor or into the rotor housing. But for now we're going to leave it like that. We're going to be putting the springs in right before we're going to be putting it into the engine. I'm going to go ahead and get the second rotor in here and we'll get that one assembled and get the rest of the engine ready to stack. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and leave the video there. Stay tuned. The next video is going to be stacking this engine. I'm super stoked. We're going to get that car back on the road. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do.
Red thumb, baby. Red. It's like the initial D. It's red suns, but it's red thumbs. The Japanese translation was wrong. They were building a fucking Rx-7 and they cut their thumbs. And they're like, how do we say that in English? We can be super edgy and say that in English and put it on a sticker on the car. And they said red suns because it's red thumbs. I'm pissed. I'm pissed. This shit sucks. Don't build an Rx-7. This shit's ass.